In yesterday's video, I mentioned that we are currently experiencing a psychological and spiritual warfare that not many even know about. You know why? Because some of them are willingly held hostage. And who's holding them hostage? Their desires. In an earlier video of mine, I mentioned a statement that my philosophy professor stuck with me. It's burned in my brain. And it is that desire is the cause of human beings suffering. And right now, I'm realizing that the entire theme of this month's videos is about freeing oneself, not just from desire itself, but from conditioning. But what if I tell you that the desires you're wanting right now may not be actually what you want, but you were conditioned to want? So many years ago, right, when I was stepping out of the life that I thought I wanted, I can't say for sure that the minute that I went cold turkey on pursuing it, that I also stopped wanting it. Actually, I didn't. But while I was wanting it from behind the scenes, I suddenly came across a wall. It was a dead end, and on that dead end, I didn't try to find a way to go around it. I didn't try to find a way to break down that wall. Instead, I sat there, and that's when I arrived with a question that, is the thing I'm wanting something I truly desire? Or is it because there is an invisible driving force that's pushing me to want it, and I'm not getting it because it's not what's meant for me? Maybe because it's wrong for my soul's design, or maybe it's just too small for me. What really helped me free myself of constantly desiring things is identifying whether I truly wanted it, or is it just a wounded part of myself wanting to be part of the trend of having it so I can belong. It wasn't about discipline, nor was it about manifestation or thinking bigger. It was about interrogating myself. Every time I felt myself wanting something, I paused and asked, do I truly want this? Or is the lingering ache to fit in disguising itself as ambition? Do I really want it? Or was I conditioned to want this because it completes a life template I never accepted or consented to? Do I really want it, or do I want it because I think achieving it will silence the people who said I couldn't? Very valid questions. And this is the most uncomfortable question of all. If I really want it, am I willing to do whatever it takes to have it? Not the aesthetic, not the announcement, and not just for other people cheering on me, but the actual process. So I started to go back to everything that I wanted, and I thought to myself, this is what it takes to get here. This is the process that you have to go through. All the rejection, the obstacles. And then just thinking about it, I was like, that's a lot of work. And it sounds draining. No, I'm not willing to go through all that. And then as soon as I got to one desire of mine that's been bubbling up for me since I was a child, and then I thought to myself, this is how long it could probably take you to get here, and this is what the work entails. Like identity shifts, changing my behaviors, improving the way I think, the way I speak, completely divorcing myself of small thinking, and a part of me, or a version of me, that's helped me survive all this time. I had to divorce survivalist and lack mindset, the habit of shrinking myself in order for people to tell me, oh, you haven't really changed. You're so humble. You're already a success, but you're still the same person we've always met. And that's when I knew all this time the reason for me playing the game with some rules that don't apply to me is not because I was trying to fulfill a destiny. It was because I was living by somebody else's standards of what success looks like, while also being afraid of being told that I changed. But isn't that the point? It's like one of the pillars of success is being able to evolve and change. And I was depriving myself of that because I was so afraid that I'd make it, that I'd have to leave some people behind. I guess they would call it survivor's guilt. But at the same time, if you really think about it, if they had to be left behind, even when I was coaxing them to come with me in my direction, that's not on me anymore. That's not my responsibility. And that's how I was able to free myself and move forward and evolve and enter a dimension that was larger than what I imagined. Like, suddenly all the options that I desired that would fit in what could have been acceptable to those peers, disposed of. Too small. It doesn't reflect me or who I am internally. Champ, do you want to join me? Champy, do you want to join me here? No? Okay. See, another source that I think contributed to this smallness in thinking and wanting to appear unchanged is being constantly exposed to other people's lives on social media. Not just the lives of the people that I know now in my new life, but people who I used to be connected to in the country that I left. Building up on constant exposure to other people's lives on social media, no matter how smart you are, no matter how in control you are of your brain, there's a door at the back of your head where these influences will quietly slip in or sneak in, and then the next thing you know, you're behaving a certain way, saying certain things, wanting stuff without understanding why, how, or when that even started. Sometimes, here's an example. You scroll, and then you see somebody posting pictures of their food, their coffee order, and you see that so many times, and you think you're so above it. But then the next thing you know, you find yourself taking a picture of your food or your coffee order or your shopping bags and then posting it on social media and then captioning it, not to brag but to inspire. Ridiculous. The system is conditioning you environmentally at this point. Is this how you want to discover yourself? Somebody who's easily conditioned and not even conditioned to seek for the betterment of yourself. Maybe for perceived elevation of status, but not internally. That you were able to fight against all these attempts to turn you into a lifetime consumer of things. Not enough to fight against them trying to poke and prod at your insecurities and then offering you solutions how to alleviate them when they're also the ones causing it. Mom, this is why I always brag about my time off social media, because not only does it sully your mind and your desires, it also adds unnecessary noise that cuts off your direct signal to your true desires. It cuts off your signal to your soul. It cuts off your direct line to your higher self, your true nature, the divine, and the next thing you know, you're a watered down version of a watered down version of a watered down version of somebody else. And I'm sure that's not what you want. Now, I do understand that getting off of it is going to be difficult because these things made sure that they've been embedded deep in your habits. I don't think that I'm above it. I'm not anti-social media. I don't think social media is evil, because I am human and I know. But it just adds so much clutter in your mind, diluting the signals, that you are not able to hear the frequency of your desires, the voice of your intuition. The divine alignment that you have to your higher self and your core nature is subtle. And the noise that these things bring drowns out that subtlety. Like I said, I'm not saying social media is evil. I'm just saying that influence is porous. I mentioned earlier that there is a back door in our mind.
I'm going now. What did you want? You need Caspi?
Like I said, there is a back door to the mind, not because we're weak, but because we're human. Repetition normalizes, exposure installs. Performance becomes subconscious mimicry. And yes, I did have a coffee and shopping bag example, but it's not about either of those. What I'm saying is about identity absorption. You judge your behavior and then suddenly you're slowly embodying it. That is cognitive seepage, and it can be slightly humiliating when you catch it. So it can, maybe you're thinking this is just a frustration of mine, but the frustration is also not about the post. It's with realizing how easily a system can shape desire while convincing you it's self-expression. This type of habit architecture is intentional. Just think about this. You wake up, you reach for your phone, brush your teeth, phone, bathroom, phone, scroll, scroll, scroll. Walking, scroll, phone. Dinner, phone. Time with friends, phone. Before bed, phone. People might think, oh, it's not that deep. I just wanted to stay updated with my friends. What about my family connection? I don't know. There are messaging apps outside of social media. How about phone numbers? Direct phone calls, text messages. So, if you're getting updates on people that you don't even have phone numbers from, maybe neither of you deserve the access to see what's going on in each other's lives, because you're not that close enough to even have each other's phone numbers. I'm just saying, like, maybe that connection was just never as intimate as the algorithm suggested. Think about this. Access is earned. Intimacy is intentional. But exposure is not the same thing. I'm not advocating that you isolate yourself. I'm advocating for independence, freedom, self-authorship. Prioritize yourself. You need to start having a strict mental diet. Be selective about what you let enter in your interior world. Content that is logical, beneficial, aligned by your own standards. If something resonates, treat it as a guideline, not gospel. Do not let a glorified normal person with a large following rewrite your perception of the people in your life. Discernment does not mean cruelty. Compassion does not mean self-abandonment. We evolve, we are fluid, that is true. But there are fundamental attributes within you that do not change. Your baseline values, your inherent design, your natural temperament. Make sure that with the decisions that you make, the goals you adopt, the people you measure, honor those baseline qualities. Not just who you are at your most inspired peak, but who you are on an ordinary Tuesday alignment. This strict mental diet that I ask of you is not restrictive, it's strategic. You're not just protecting your image. We are protecting an internal signal clarity. Because we need to value congruence over looking impressive to people who don't even care about our well-being. What I'm describing up there is not minimalism. It's also not anti-ambition nor anti-social media. It's just self-authorship, being independent and not driven by egoic desires. When a desire is ego driven, you will strive for outcome. But when it's driven by essence, the soul, you accept the cost of what it takes to get there, regardless of the timeline. If you are having a hard time identifying your desires, I urge you to try setting up your own filtration system. If it helps you, this is how I built my filtration system. Is the desire that you have right now fueled by a wound? If so, what wound is it? Is it a wound that you want to prove people wrong? Is it a wound that wants you to be accepted by the people who rejected you? Or is it a wound that makes you think having that makes you lovable? Okay, those are just examples. And the next thing is I ask myself, is it just conditioning? A script that was handed down to me, a template that I was supposed to fulfill because the people or my elders before me were taught that this is how life goes. This is the exact template of success. Now I need you to follow this, because if you have these, you will be successful. So I think, is this desire based on that script? And am I the one who's supposed to complete it? Because this script does not fit the role that I have envisioned for myself. Is that desire from your ego that wants to prove something? There was a time when I was examining all the things that I wanted. And then I was thinking, why is it so difficult for me to accept or carry these things out? They're fairly easy. And then I realized, hold up, wait a minute. It seems like the reason for my internal resistance is not because I'm not capable of achieving these things. It's because these things are not my desires. These were just instilled upon me. And then people who instilled it upon me told me I couldn't have it. So I kept going after it because I wanted to prove them wrong. I'm not playing my game. I'm playing their game. You know what? I might lose, but I quit that game. I'm gonna play by my own rules, by my own game that I like, that I enjoy. Not theirs, mine. The only person I have to prove something to is my inner child and my higher self and my present self that I'm working with right now. Also have to think, is this conditioning something that just wants a complete script? Okay, I'll give you an example. It's when people say, for example, for the careers, you want a promotion at a certain age because you're supposed to be a senior by now, or you should be going to grad school because that's what high performers do. You know, you need to be engaged because your friends are already engaged. You need to have a partner by now because that proves your stability. But prove to who? You should be married by now because that validates that you're already an adult. Or you should have a home by now because you're still renting at this age. You're losing in life. Maybe even having children because they said that being a mother is the best thing, or being a parent is the best thing that can give you fulfillment. That feels responsible, sensible, and slightly pressuring. Not wrong, but not always yours to fulfill. Feels like when you don't do these, you're off track. Or like, if you follow them without questioning if those are really what you want in life, that is not a milestone. That is just compliance. You have to understand, if you want these things because you actually truly want them even if nobody knew that you had them, or do you just want them because you see everyone else have it and now you're feeling the pressure you're feeling the pressure that I need to have that too? Because the first one is just your essence that wants to be expanded. So for example, you want to learn an instrument. And you do. And not because you can post about it. Even if no one hears it, you still get excited at the thought that you're learning a new skill. Writing poems, books, literary stuff, or even like a video, posting a video that nobody watches or nobody's probably ever gonna read. Changing your interior space, not because you're probably gonna have content later and it would look good on video or social media. Rather, you change the look of your space because the beauty alone inspires you. How about studying a language because you know that neuroplasticity, if you study a language, it actually expands your mind. Or going to the gym, not because you can flex your abs on your stories or your my days, but because you genuinely love your body and you want to know how much stronger you can be. For example, you're building something that's super impressive, not because you want to show it off, but because the intricacy of the process excites you and the depth of what you're building actually satisfies you. In terms of relationship, you're wanting a partnership not to secure status among your friends or among your peers, or somebody that you could show off on social media who brings you flowers, takes you to trips, but because you want to deepen your experience with somebody else. That you want to share that love because you're overflowing with it, regardless of who knows about it. In the wealth aspect, a lot of us right now, we can see how people are saying, oh, I just ate salt and rice before and now I have a mansion in these places. That is a script from other people that you're wanting to replicate. I like the need to be visibly successful. But if it's about your essence and you just want expansion, it's wealth is just wanting to be a resource freedom so that it can amplify your independence and your creative control, your ability to help those in need, and you don't even feel like you want to post about it on social media because it's not about being admired for the things that you do with your wealth. Rather, now you have the capability to actually express who you truly are on the inside through money and power, and regardless of who sees it or not, regardless of who knows about it or not. The first one, the scripts, are all about optics, but the essence part is always about leverage. Those are two different frequencies. Let's take it another level. So if you want to know if you are truly desiring from a script that somebody has handed down to you, or you were influenced by, or you were conditioned to have it, the question will always be, and the purpose will always be about making other people know that you did this and that you have this and that, because it will enhance your position socially, But if it's from essence, you ask yourself, how will pursuing this expand me internally, or expand my consciousness, my essence as a human being? Egoic desire will always fear falling behind. Will always fear failure. But if you desire from your core essence, your foundational attributes, it comes from an indifferent place. Like, I don't care who knows about it. I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing this because I want to. There is a little subtle trap because they can sometimes overlap. You can want wealth from your very inherent qualities, from your soul's desire. But sometimes it can also feel like egoic pressure is layered on top of it. The work is separating the layers. So now let me leave you with this. The next time you want something, do not rush towards it. Sit with it, strip it of trend, comparison, revenge, validation, and if it still stands there, steady and quiet, asking to be brought to life, then it's yours. Everything else is just noise dressed in a beautiful outfit.